Yes. So here we are live.
I'll be happy if we also watch them.
Yeah. Yes. So now we are live on Facebook as well. And welcome, Mr. Suresh. And I'm a little nervous today. I don't know why.
Don't be.
Yeah. So usually I don't be, but okay. So welcome everyone in E-Talk. And today we have the founder of Bar a Day, Mr. V. Suresh. And he'll be sharing all the the journey about the bar a day and what are the challenges were, and he will be also sharing some he'll be giving us some expert advice as well. And I know like he's having good connection with the other entrepreneurs, and he has a lot experience in the industry. And personally, whenever I was meeting him, I was getting a very good inputs from him. So it is really great to have him, and this is my pleasure. Like I'm so glad to have Suresh on the talk. So yes, welcome Suresh, welcome other participants as well. And
Thank you, Sugam.
Let's start our e-talk. So basically on
Sure.
e-talk, it's e-talk means it's an entrepreneur talk, but as well as we're just trying to make it as simple so that a newcomer also can understand, and they can understand about the journey, about the challenges, and they can create, like they can set their mindset, they can prepare themselves for the hassles. That so what we call it hassles because we know like the multiple challenges are going on. It is similar like being on border and having multiple bullets towards you, and how you're saving yourself and also you are moving forward. It is very important. Yes, so Mr. Suez, let's start this. And like whenever we are starting our journey, we always think about the motivation. Like that's why I just want to know. I just want to ask you, like, your motivation behind starting this business.
Thanks, Sugam. Thanks for giving me the opportunity here. So it's like this, I started my corporate journey back in 2006, and I spent real 11 years of corporate life. And over a period of time, there is always this entrepreneur bug in your brain, right? It will keep trying to come out. But you might be busy in your job. I was busy in my job for a while, and I was really doing great. And there was a fantastic achievement through my job. And later, I did my executive program with University of California. And while I was doing that program, again, that bug actually took a new form, and it started pushing me towards my entrepreneurial journey. And one fine night, I was really thinking of breaking out of this existing cyclical life, and I wanted to do something bigger and something more purposeful in this life, right? So that's where I started thinking about what I should be doing. And during that time exactly, I found that there is a very good market gap in terms of the healthy food in India as a whole. If you think anything is healthy food, maybe you will have only 10% or 20% of the healthy quotient in it. It may not be truly healthy. And the rest of the world is, heading towards a healthy food. But we Indians are, very, I would say, very lazy in adapting to that healthy culture. We were so fast in adapting to burgers and pizzas, right? It's dynamite, right? The business models of these KFC, McD, Domino's, they exploded like anything in the last 15 years. From the time they started, now where they are, it's like an explosive business. But when we look for the healthy snacks or healthy food part of it, it's really small business. It's really small size in the market overall, and adoption is also really small because of multiple reasons, right? Number one being, people think healthy food is tasteless. And people also think healthy food is something it should be coming from elsewhere.
Right.
These are all misconceptions. So I wanted to challenge this situation and create a platform of healthy snacking foods. And I wanted to create multiple healthy snack foods in that genre. And I really wanted to take this opportunity and be a part of the first early mover advantage in the healthy snacks in India. And the idea is to help people easily move towards healthy snacking as a hobby, right? Rather than going to the traditional unhealthy stuff. If you make it more convenient for people to adopt, that's when people are going to move. That's how it
Right.
started. Of course, every business is for a purpose. We want to make money. Of course, I'm a first generation entrepreneur in my family. I'm looking to build a good business and create employment, create my own establishments like factory and marketing aspects. But that's a story, Sugam.
Yes, but really, I must say that whenever I heard you about your detailed, deep story, I really, it is completely inspiring. And whenever I talk to some other person or some early stage entrepreneur, some of my friends, I used to share them about these stories, and it is really inspiring. Like how you found,
Thank you.
yeah, how you like approach to the timeline. You were continuing with the timeline. You set the deadline, and how you completed all these things. So out of that, I just wanna ask you one question, like how you do your analysis, like what is the way of doing your analysis? Like you do analysis very well, and I'm so much fascinated about knowing about the process, like how you do.
So when you say analysis, it's pretty open question. So I did a lot of analysis starting from the color of my package to the taste of my product to the ingredients that I am supposed to use in the product, and how do I name my product. It is all based on a research, right? It's not an easy task. It's very tedious, and I still remember I would have tried 40 different variations to create a packaging which I think is
Right.
good enough, and it will stand out in comparison with rest of the products in Indian market and shelves. So it's really really a tedious task, and where I did an analysis on the color pattern that I wanted to choose for my product in packaging, and I did study a lot of material around international publishing stuff related to food packaging and how you make that attractive. First, global companies does it because they
Yes.
have huge money. They can hire people to do this, and they can create such kind of things. But as a startup entrepreneur, without having that such of deep pockets, with limited money that we have, you end up doing everything. That's what I did. Right?
Yes.
I have to do a lot of analysis. I have to figure out what is good for you, what is not good for you. Read a lot of articles about nutrition. Read a lot of articles about health benefits of various ingredients. So every piece of information is going through over and again, and then finally you have to land up with a decision. Yes, this is what I wanted to do. This is how I wanted to. This is how my product should look like, right?
Right.
And with some inputs from customers and users, I go with a sample packaging and ask some people. First packaging was plain. When I did my first product trial, it was a plain packaging. I picked up those samples. I had a sticker on top of that with different colors, and I asked people, "How do you find this color? How do you find this packaging? Do you find this attractive? Do you find this motivating for you to pick this product?" So all the sort of questions we asked, we collated all the questions and all the answers that we got, all the feedback we got into an Excel sheet, and we had a discussion around that. Later, slowly we tried to adopt to a space where people think, yes, this is a good product, this is a nice product, and this is a nice color pattern that you chose, and it's really attractive. Some other supermarket guys told me, your packaging looks really elegant, and where did
Yes.
you get that design done?
Yes. Very
That
true.
went to that an extent, without analysis and without putting a lot of efforts, without putting your heart into it, it's not possible.
Yeah. True. And I must say, like you keep doing this thing. So the
Yes,
research,
always. We
research.
always look for improvements in every aspect of it, and the best part is, right, you might have a product or service right now.
Yes.
Over a period of 5 years, this may not be the trend anymore, or this may not be appealing for the 5-year next generation. For you yourself, you look back, the products that you liked earlier 5-10 years back, you may not like now, or you find those products not suitable for your lifestyle now. Right?
Very true.
It has to suit your lifestyle. It should be convenient for you when you're working, traveling, and it should help you take a right decision, and it should make your life easy.
Yes.
Right? That's how we are evolving. Within 1 year or 2 year of time, you might see so many things changing again. The
Yeah.
color patterns changes. There is a color trend every year that gets published, right?
Mhm.
There is a food trend, snacks trend that gets published every year. It's evolving. It's not a single thing that runs for 20 years, 100 years. It keeps evolving, and we should go along with that. And if you were to target a 15 to 20-year-old guy now, you probably be on Instagram and TikTok, right?
Yeah.
That's where they are. You have to be there and be in front of their eyes. And unless you make a buzz and you make yourself appearing in front of them, they'll not recognize you. They don't care.
Right.
It's not only that they come to you, it's that you have to go to them to sell your product.
And I think like this is the very important thing that we should first understand and learn. Like being an entrepreneur we have to understand the need of the market, and the right way of understanding the need of market is to do the survey and to get the real inputs and work on that. And that is really hard work, but it's very important for creating a quality product and like a product which can really fill the gap between the market and the consumer.
Pretty much, right? Sometimes you might end up doing a survey. Sometimes you create a product and go to the market, talk to people. Is the product useful, or is the product really necessary, or it's just like having fun, right?
Right.
You might see some products which are getting created with huge enthusiasm but end up nowhere. Reason,
Right.
it may not be useful in daily life. And you might see some simple products which is very simple in terms of the technological application. You take the example of Uber and Ola.
Right.
It's driven by GPS, and it's like an API on Google Maps or Maps. It's so simple that somebody created billions of dollars of business around that. The use case is small, but look at the applicability of it. Every day, millions of people use it. That's a gap that was existing for ages, and somebody could really see how this can be fulfilled. And imagine a situation where GPS was not existent, and you don't see all of these companies, no more delivery services, right? All these Swiggy's, Zomato's, Ubers, and Olas are not existent if GPS was not there. So there is at least I believe in this. Every opportunity comes with time, with the ecosystem being ready, or the entire technology gamut gets ready, and then you get an opportunity, or somebody foresees an opportunity by looking through the technological upgradations or new evolving technologies. That's how these companies started their journey, right? Yes, there are a few companies who becomes a copycat of something which exists elsewhere. Yes, need of the hour, right? We need food delivery. Yes, if it is existent in US and UK, probably yes, Indians also go for food delivery, and we need that. And somebody created a business around that, and it's running successfully now.
Very true. Yeah.
Surveys, surveys are there. There are multiple ways to do it, and the only suggestion would be in this area: don't get lost in your own world when you create an application or when you create a service or a product. Because unless you go out of your comfort zone and talk to people and get public understanding how they are perceiving it, do they really need this product, or are they are just looking at it for the sake of giving you a feedback,
right?
We should be judgmental in that, and there is a high chance that you will fall in love with your product or service, and you should probably come out of that comfort zone, because it may not last long unless people buy your service or product. You can't make a business, right? Product is not business. Business is beyond product.
Very true. And I just wanna tell you, like, this is the very important the segment that you are talking now. Don't get don't fall in love with your product, and you just focus on the business. This is like being a rational as well as like when we start something, and like being as an entrepreneur, we love our things because we say that what you love, that you must do what you
absolutely love. Everyone does it.
But the real business is how we are making it consumable, or how our customers or our client getting benefited out of it, and this is the real business. But how we
are for that benefit part, right? I normally believe in one thing. Take my example, right? I am making a healthy snack product, and how do I sell my product? I sell it through online, or I'll sell it through a distributor or a supermarket. And if I don't sell it for profit, I won't sustain.
Right.
And if the distributor won't sell it for profit, he will not sustain. Same with the supermarket guy and the end consumer, right? If he's not happy with the product, taste, texture, and health health quotient of the product, he will not buy next time. He or she will not buy next time. They should be happy spending that amount of money for that product, and it should give them the satisfaction that yes, it is worth. That is called value proposition. There is a value proposition for me to make my profit and build my business, and there is a value proposition for a supermarket guy. He needs to make a share out of it and he wants to sell more. There is a value proposition for the customer. It's customer satisfaction. Customer gets a good product, a real, healthy, wholesome product which was not existing earlier, right? It's a value proposition that drives the market, that drives the business always. It's very critical and key for any business.
Very true, very true. Yes. So let's come to this point. Like, why bar a day? You named, like, your brand name is Bar a Day. So how you thought about it, and why Bar a Day?
That's funny, actually. I was thinking about so many different names. Thing is, I came up with a concept where, there is a saying, right? Even your grandparents would have told you, eat a handful of nuts and seeds every day, right? Dry fruits or nuts. That's good for you.
Yeah.
The concept always goes with every day, a day. So I wanted to create a brand around that. And we tried multiple combinations. We tried to look for trademark availability. We tried to look for domain name availability. After all this gambling and stuff, there was one point where we had to take a decision. We quickly moved on to Bar a Day. Otherwise, there were many other names we looked at, One a Day.
Your audio, your voice is not. No, actually, sorry. Actually, your voice is not coming. Yeah. One second. Yes. Now it's okay. No, still it is not coming. I guess there is some issue with my.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it's working.
Yeah, sorry. So the logic is, Bar a Day, when we created the brand name, we had high hopes, right? Everyone would do. And then it is not you who will decide the journey of your brand. It is your customer. It is your customer. And it is the market that drives the brand, that drives the journey. So now, if you notice, Bar a Day is my brand, and my first product is Hearty Bite.
Yes.
Stuff, actually, heart healthy energy bar, which I thought, that's a niche in the market segment, and it's really necessary for so many people. But soon in the market, people started calling it Hearty Bite.
Yes.
They're not calling it Bar a Day. They're calling it Hearty Bite. Can I have a Hearty Bite? So then I realized, okay, it looks like Hearty Bite is more favorable than a Bar a Day as a brand. Then I also tried registering Hearty Bite as a trademark. Probably very soon, Bar a Day will go off. Hearty Bite will become my primary brand, and every other product that is going to come under this segment is going to be Hearty Bite.
Okay.
Right? And there is another angle to it. I thought, we could build a huge business using bars as a category, like many other companies does it in US and UK. But for Indian consumers, you may not be able to do it in the next 5 years or 10 years. It's not so easy. And the variations of products or within the healthy segment, right? You should be able to create many number of products in many number of segments, not necessarily only bars. Right? So keeping that in mind, we realized, okay, we don't want to lock ourselves in only bars when the customer is expecting chips as well, healthy chips, right? Anything that they want to bite, it should be Hearty Bite, not a Bar a Day.
Yes.
So that's how it happens, right? It's not you who decided the journey over a period of time. It's market that drives your journey.
Right.
You may start, but you're not the driver anymore.
Yes.
You're probably the owner of the bus, but it is driven by somebody else.
Yes, actually, because we have to notice the demand rather than just creating something amazing or different. Because
yes,
like you serving our customer, our consumer is more important than just creating something what in our dream. Yeah. So, uh, but I see I have seen your detailing about creating your logo as well, and you created your logo yourself only. Like you had your assistant, like you had your helping hand as well. But the thing is, like everything went through you, and you have decided, you have created everything. So I really appreciate, and it is really very good to understand, to know, and it is really inspiring to having such
To be frank,
a
Sugam, that's not the great way to do it always, because if you are the only one doing many things, you are a bottleneck, right?
yes.
So many entrepreneurs will go through this journey. I mean, this in their journey,
Mhm.
they feel, I think I'm doing everything and anything in the business, right? That's a very difficult situation. It shouldn't be the case. You'll not be able to justify everything.
Right.
You need a validation. You need someone to brainstorm,
Mhm.
right? Maybe a co-founder or your wife or your brother or someone in a family or a friend. You need someone to brainstorm and discuss and take a validation of your idea, and the other person may look at it differently, right?
Right. Right.
Many of your consumers or customers might look the same way that your friend was looking at, and you
Mhm.
end up making that mistake that the way you wanted to keep it. It may not be the right proposition always, but sometimes if you
True.
really try it, it may work, but it's not the ideal scenario. And maybe that's the reason why Baraday is not the great brand name. Probably Heartbite is.
Yeah, but the evolution is always there. Like we have to evolve
Yes.
every day. Yeah, but you should see, like initially, you rather than waiting for someone, it's better to start from yourself only. This
Yeah,
is
the
what.
reason is, you should have a fair understanding of what you need or what you are looking for.
Mhm.
You can't start from a white paper. Your friend, the one who you wanted to give the job to, they may not want to start on a white paper. They need
Right.
your input. What is your
Mhm.
vision? Right? How do
Very
you want to look at it? What is your plan for next 1 year, 5 years?
right. Right.
What
The
is the
plan.
product all about? Right?
Mhm.
This is in your brain, and you have to be able to explain it to the person who's going to create the design or
Right.
anything for that matter. So unless you put the thoughts onto paper or onto the device, and you won't get it.
Very true.
You should have a fair understanding and then give it to somebody else, saying, this is what I was thinking, and
Mhm.
I wanted my product in this color and this pattern, this all of these things, and then they'll give you 10 options.
Right.
You may probably shortlist 3, and then they rework on those 3, and finally you end up shortlisting 1. That's how
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah. So, tell me one thing. Like, how far do you think that the sustainability is a business in sustainability in a business is important?
Um, Funny question, Sugam, to be frank, because if you call something a business,
Mhm.
sustainability is already in it. Else you're out of business, right?
Right.
If you are sustaining ups and downs, and if you are sustaining financially, and if you are sustaining reputation wise, if your brand is sustaining the competition, that's when you are in the business. And
Because
if
see,
sustainability of the business is at a question, then that moment, if you fail, your business fails.
right. But there
And
is a
it's
some
really
one
important.
part. There is one
Yeah,
part
go
is
on.
yeah, other part is sustainability. One part is risk, other part is sustainability. Like how much risk we can take, and how much sustainable we are. So how we can
See,
match these things.
I think if you look at it, probably risk comes very early in your hand when you actually take that step to create the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, you created your business, you tried your hand. Then, say, after 10 days, you faced a situation where you don't have a place to sell a product.
Right.
And what do? You need to find a place to sell a product,
Mm-hmm.
right? You need to create an opportunity for yourselves. You need to
Right.
keep meeting people, go and explore. Why you are doing all of this? To sustain, to
For sure.
be in the business.
Mm-hmm.
You should be in the game, right? You can't give up.
Right.
So even if it is a COVID situation, right? Yes, everyone is going through this. There is a big hit for everyone's business, including mine. My corporate world is working from home, and my all the office sales were close to zero now. it is a situation, but how do we sustain this? We need to devise new plans. There should be new strategy, to address the situation. And though we are not clear yet on what is going to be the next month and how we're going to work, how the corporate is going to work after 6 months, we don't know yet. It is still a kind of, I would say, blindfolded, right? We don't know what is going to happen in next 2 months or 6 months.
Right.
So sustainability is the question here. How do you sustain? If you don't take any action, definitely you'll not sustain, that much for sure. Every business is hit. Some businesses were hit badly, like travel and tourism. Some businesses were hit to an extent. There are some businesses which are flourishing, like daily essentials. Those businesses are flourishing. Yes, still they have some problems of logistics. Logistics became costlier, right? Raw material sourcing is a problem. Migrant workers are a problem now. Factories are not able to run on full potential. Right, we know many of the essential products, like the top seller biscuit companies or chips companies, they're going through a problem now because of migrant worker shortage.
Right.
None of their factories are running at a full potential like it used to be 3 months back. Now you may end up seeing product shortage in the shelves in the next 2-3 months. That's a big problem. Probably we are not seeing it yet, but we are going to see it. And now many of the restaurants are going out of business, and they are trying to figure out what to do and how to sustain in this situation. And Restaurant Association is deciding that they probably don't want to work with Swiggy and Zomato because Swiggy and Zomato are charging premium. It's simple, right? If you have a dish which is 200 rupees worth, when you buy it on Zomato or Swiggy, it is becoming 300 rupees.
Yes.
And the restaurant owner is looking at it as a very premium, and the customer is feeling pain. Rather, if the restaurant itself is selling the same product, they would probably sell it at $200.
Right.
So now Restaurant Association is taking a decision that we don't want to work with Swiggy and Zomato. We want to deliver on our own. They are creating delivery network now. Probably they wanted to deliver at a better price than the Swiggy's and Zomatos, right?
Yes.
So these are the ways businesses want to create sustainability methods, right?
Right.
If they want to sustain. Sorry, I'm getting calls. Sorry about that. Find a way to run their business to match to the new normal. It is not normal anymore. We're not going back to the normal. You go out and see, you will see everyone in mask. You don't identify your friend anymore, just like that on the road. He's wearing a mask. You don't know who that is, right? So the life is completely different.
Yeah,
your colleagues may look different. Your business customers may look different. And sometimes you may face a situation where your product doesn't suit your customer anymore.
Exactly.
And sometimes your product might become, you're offering, like you take yoga, right? You're offering yoga is very essential for so many people during the lockdown because they wanted to build their immunity, they wanted to be healthy, they wanted to live healthy, they want to avoid COVID, they don't want to cut off with COVID, right? So they are finding ways to live healthy and happy. That's where yoga and other health practices, home fitness, home workouts took a really, to a big jump. And so many people were trying that, and there were challenges around that. So these are all the ways people can be on a business level as well.
Right. And so after, this COVID situation, what I figure out, the people are started, talking about this thing, the strategy we must be aware of, this kind of, because once it's happened, means we must be aware of it. So what I think, we must be starting, if we are starting a startup or something, we must be aware about, these things, what happened with us. And as well as we must have a plan of sustainable things, like how will be sustainable and what will be the challenge and how we'll face that challenge, rather than just starting with the product and coming in the market. And that you already told about this thing, so we should not only design according to us, we have to develop the product or the service according to the consumer. And so understanding the consumer nowadays, it's because we know that this situation, there will be some norms and things will change, our behavior will change, the market behavior will change, the people, our customer will definitely, things will be changing, like they will be behaving in a different way, the persona will change. So what do you think, how we should prepare for that? Like how, if we are going to start, for example, if I'm going to start from fresh, from new something, I don't have much thing, I don't know much about it. So how I should start?
I would say if someone really wanted to start at this moment, probably the first thing I would suggest is don't go with what people are purchasing at the moment. People are purchasing masks and sanitizers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the business that probably everyone want to get in because it is already flooded, right? Every other guy is selling masks and sanitizer. Every other business is into making masks and sanitizers, including the Reliance of India.
Right.
They're also making masks because it's very easy for them. They are into the plastic business. PPE is their raw material, right? So they can make anything. So every other business is going into these. So I would say highest selling objects or highest selling products are at the moment in the market. Those are not the real businesses. They may be there for a month or for a year, but we don't know act. Nobody can justify that statement if somebody is saying, it is going to stay for longer, because nobody knows actually. So I would say just wait and watch for some more days at least, till you figure out, yes, this is how the world is changing, right?
Right.
And everybody is just, kind of, estimating, and everybody is guessing this is how it may work, this is how it may not work. It is all a gamble. If somebody want to really put in money in this time of the COVID situation, it is going to be a gamble. You might win, you might lose. Rather, I would say come up with a very existing old problem or a well-known problem where you see a huge gap, or come up with a solution for a upcoming problem that you can foresee, which nobody else is foreseeing, right?
Yes.
I would say it is too early for someone to start a business at the moment because the market is not encouraging, people are not spending. So getting your early customer is going to be difficult.
Right. And I guess like we must wait for the, once market will be stable, things will be, normal. Normal in the sense like we must be understanding the behavior, what will be the long-term behavior, like what will be the normal behavior of customers. Then only will be understanding like what will be the need of the market.
True.
Yeah.
We should see the new normal, how it is going to be.
Yes. Okay. So
You still
I
have
guess
questions?
yeah, actually, so I have questions, and I guess like in this discussion, like we have covered two questions. The one question I wanted to ask, that is the sustainable practice for your business. What you do for making your business sustainable?
I would say no plan is concrete yet, because I don't know how my customer is going to react after 10 days, after 1 month, after 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? But one thing is going to be for sure, my business is going to sustain only if I try to sell my product online. Right? That is a resolution. I would say probably even before COVID, I was kind of inclined towards direct to consumer, but now it is the mandate. You only have an opportunity to sell your product through online by selling it direct to consumer, and all you have to do is make it more visible to your target consumer, target customer. You can't make it available for everyone. You can only make it available for potential customers.
Very true. Very true.
That's what I'm
But
trying to build around. And I'm also looking at partnerships, which is going to be very important for any business. You should seek a friend, and you should seek advice from your mentors, or you should seek partnership from your fellow entrepreneurs. You may
very true.
have opportunities for collaboration,
Yeah.
right? You may have opportunity for collaboration, wherein you can take a small sanitizer pouch or a
Mm-hmm.
sachet and keep it in your pack and send it to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good gesture, right? You could do so many things like that.
Right. Yes. Yes. Very true. And
But
that,
nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. It's going to take time to stabilize.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before COVID, you were doing very good, I must say, like, and I remember that our the last meeting, that face to face meeting. Oh, after that, there was, you were busy in your business stuff, and I was busy in my business stuff, and then later on we faced this COVID, so we can't meet even we have time then. Yeah, so you were doing very good, and I must say like your planning is really very great. So this is what I learned, and I must apply it in my business as well. So one
Thank you.
success that you follow throughout, like from your starting to till now? One, this success mantra that you follow always.
I would say we should be attentive to our business always. You can't just ignore it for a day or so. If it is you, if you are building a business, you can't behave like a employee, right?
Right.
That's one difference people should do. There is a perception that many people would think I'm fed up with working, start my own business, and I wanted to be my own boss.
Right.
And my advice for them, right? If you are fed up working for somebody else, you really look at it this way: somebody else should work for you tomorrow when you build a business. Those are not the reasons for building a business. Those are just excuses where you are cheating yourself. Right? I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to be my own boss. When you are in the business, you can't sleep.
Very true.
You keep thinking even in the sleep. Right? And I would say that much of attention is very much important. And if you are working for somebody else, at least you will have a peaceful sleep.
Right.
But if you are building a business, you can't have that, and more chances that you won't let your employees also sleep.
Yes.
And your employee is going to feel the same.
Yeah. Yes.
That's very immature idea, I would say. Not working for somebody is a very immature idea. If somebody finds a real solution for a big problem, or even for a very valid problem, even if it is a small, very valid problem, you can still build a business with a solution that you found.
Very true.
But you have to put your blood and sweat in that. There is no way you can't win the business if you really put in efforts.
I remember one story when I was working for a company. It's a biggest business consulting and IT services in Gurgaon. So one day, I came early and I thought I'm the first one who came in the office. And I just checked that my boss, means my founder of that company, is reached or not. So he was not on his desk. So I thought I'm the first one. So I went there, I put my bag on the table and I started looking here and there, and suddenly I recognized he was sitting on another table and he was looking at me what I'm doing. So that time only he called me and he said are you observing all around you, like how the people are behaving and what they are doing? So because he was knowing that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I said yes. So he asked me did you find any problem? So I said yes, I found a problem. On another table, the people are there, but his boss is not there and they're not working actually. So they are just spending their time. So he said, okay, you found the problem, what is the solution for that? I said there must be one this attendance system wala something solution. So he said, okay, just go and Google, seek for the solution and go and pitch to the person. I was surprised. Right now you're telling me to pitch that boss. He said, yes, you prepare this thing on paper, on PPT or anywhere. It is not a big deal. You just prepare it and go and sell it. If you can sell it now, then I'm giving you guaranteed you will be a successful entrepreneur. And that was a kick for me. I started thinking about it is not about only finding a solution, but also how you're taking your solution to the consumer, to your customer or your client. This is very important. And this is the biggest gap between a person who want to be a businessman, a person who is really a businessman. And
there are always challenging bosses. There are always tough bosses, I would say. And remember, if you are building a business, your customer might be 10 times tougher than your boss.
Yes.
And you end up obeying to your customer because he's your customer. Right? It is not that you are trying to sell something your customer may need. No, customer knows very well what he needs.
Yes.
They may be very clear. They will behave really bossy with you if you are not behaving responsibly, right? As a brand, as a company, if you are not behaving responsibly, they may challenge you.
Yes.
You have to be ready with that.
Yeah. And
same thing will happen in office, same thing will happen in the market.
Yes, you are a boss of your business, but your boss is your customer.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice. Seriously, it's good and being proactive, we can say. Okay, so one advice that you would give to buddy entrepreneurs, like early stage entrepreneurs, or the people are watching us on Facebook, or right now we have participants here. The one suggestion you want to give them.
Suggestion in any specific area, or just to build a business, or what is it, or a career?
Career or business, it should be a common that person will definitely get benefited, because we have a good experience of doing
Yeah,
job.
there is always a chance that what I couldn't achieve in my life, I probably would suggest others. That is very very high chance, because that is how parenting works. What we couldn't do in our childhood, probably we expect our children to do it. So okay, that's how it is. Probably I would say one thing which nobody told me when I was a kid. Even I heard very recently, a few months back from someone. If you care for something, you care for that to an extent, you would put your life for that.
Very true.
Right? If you really care for something, either it could be taking care of your family, or it could be taking care of your entire city, or it could be taking care of a bunch of people and their well-being, or taking care of building a company and taking care of a business. If you really want to do it wholeheartedly and put every single effort that you can. And there is no way, there is no one in this world who can stop you. No force can stop you from succeeding. Don't compromise in putting that efforts.
This is giving me a goosebump. Like, I'm also feeling that.
Oh my God.
No, really, it's really good. Thank you so much for this. Like, now we have the question answer session. So we have our participants here, and as well as I'll be asking you a few questions what we got after posting this poster about today's session. So a few people also asked a few questions on my WhatsApp. So now
Okay.
I'm unmuting all the participants. Like, we have Mrityunjay Patitar, Sarvang Yoga, Arogya, Aksata Singh. So now they can ask anything.
Sure.
Yes, so welcome, and now we have time to ask any question to our guest. You guys can ask any question related to whatever you want to ask, like related to your career or entrepreneurship or journey or his journey, anything.
Hello, sir. This is Mrityunjay. Hello.
I'm Mrityunjay.
Yeah, sir. I want to ask you, like in this pandemic days, how you are working on the to go online or to sell the products online. What are your main social media platform? Like, you are working on websites or on Insta, on Facebook, or like how in a progressive manner, like you are working on that. Thank you.
Mrityunjay, to be frank, let me tell you something. Whatever the platforms that you told me, right? Social media, online selling, these are all channels. But the actual business is not these channels, right? Actual business is in the strategy. Tomorrow, does my product really necessary for a customer or not? I feel yes, people are looking for healthy stuff. They wanted to eat healthy. They are really, really looking for healthy snacks to build their immunity, to live healthy. When I justify myself, yes, people are looking for products like mine. That's when I wake up every day with a confidence that tomorrow my life is going to be better, my business is going to be better. And once you achieve that satisfaction, I wouldn't say satisfaction, once you achieve that stage, that's when probably you look at channels. How do you really want to reach your customer, and what channel you want to use? And to my surprise, during these pandemic days, right, the social media penetration took to a new high, and the digital cinema watching took to a new high. Can digital cinema become my marketing platform? Maybe yes. I need to explore how I should be able to do it, but it is very cost intensive, so I couldn't do it at the moment. Social media, it looks fancy. You will have so many people following. your post, but is that social media post really generating revenue? That's a question I ask myself every time, and most of the time the answer that I get is a strong no. Social media platform at the moment, what we are trying to do is showcasing your brand, publicizing your brand content and telling people outside that, yes, we are existent, this is our brand, this is about our product, and all of this information. You are basically giving out the information about your product and the brand. But how do you monetize that information and how do you generate sales is entirely a different game. It's very cost intensive. People would have to do social media advertising, be it on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or wherever you should be doing advertising. And the conversion from that advertising is always on the single digit, right? It's very costly. And for companies without enough funding or a funding backup, it's not easy. So I looked through all of these, and now at this moment, I found one situation where one potential customer is being targeted by 10 different companies, 10 different brands from 10 different directions. I'm working on a plan where can we unify all these 10 different efforts into one effort, single effort, and reach that customer, right? The opportunity I have is these 10 brands should work together and reach this customer. It's good for the brands, it's good for the customer as well. Just imagine if you want to buy a product on Amazon, how much time do you spend researching about the product and the quality of the product? If there are 10 different products available, you will go through the reviews of each product, you will go through the features, you will check every single aspect. Probably you'll spend some half an hour or 1 hour researching the product. But if somebody can help you curating the products and give you whatever the products you need in your in a convenient format, probably you would go and buy that format, right? That's still an assumption, but there is a validation in different parts of the world. So I'm trying to create a platform where healthy snacks brands are discovered and healthy snack brands work together to reach a potential customer. It is yet to be launched, or even the idea is yet to go out. That's what I am working on right now. Hope I could answer your question, Mrityunjay.
Yeah, sir, I got it. Like it is more about like collaborating with the brands and then go ahead together. Like you have some
Because we're
brands
all small. Yeah, because we're all small, we can't compete with the big brands out there in the market, which are into regular non-healthy segments or regular businesses. We have to work together to build a bigger ecosystem, right? When many people work together, the ecosystem becomes bigger.
Yes, and yes, and the important is
Definitely.
the
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So anyone else, or I should take the questions what I got on my WhatsApp?
Yeah, go for it. Meanwhile, if anyone asks, we can.
Sure. We have 7 minutes. So, yeah. So the first question what I got from Vivek. So he is asking like, what are the skills we need for starting a business or being an entrepreneur? For starting an entrepreneurship journey.
That's a very tricky question, but it's really valid question. Let me tell you something. You might have heard stories that during the COVID situation, somebody started selling vegetables differently than many others. Yes. Somebody would have started selling face masks differently than many others. Somebody would have started stitching face masks and start selling those masks. These are all, I would say, you don't need a specific skill to become an entrepreneur. All you need is to find a solution for a problem, right? That's how people become entrepreneurs. They don't get well education, not necessary to become an entrepreneur. You don't need to have mentors. You don't need to have huge money. You don't need to have big investors. You don't need to spend really high amounts on marketing, but still you will be able to become an entrepreneur if you find a problem and a solution that you can address with. Well, only one thing that you should keep in mind, find the real problem. Not the problem you only feel it, but a real problem, but many others feel it, right? Where a customer is willing to pay a price for a solution that you are offering. If you have that kind of a solution for a problem, go for it.
And validation is like, play a very big role.
The
in this.
validation is that is there a person who is willing to pay me for that service or a product? That's a validation, nothing else. Your friends might tell you this is great, but not. Will your friend pay for you? Maybe, because you are a close friend, he may, but ask his friend's friend. Will he pay for you? If he's not, then you are not in the right business.
Right. Either business is not right, or I'm not targeting the right customer.
Or you are addressing your own pain point, not everybody else's.
Very true.
Right.
Yeah. So then, yes, I guess like this Sarvang Yoga Arogya, he wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
Okay. So there is one question from Rajiv. So he is in influence marketing, affiliate marketing. Sorry, he's in affiliate marketing, and he is just he is asking like, so I have 3 years of experience in the affiliate marketing, and I know this market very well. But I want to start, but the thing is, like, I'm not understanding from where I should start.
Start what?
Affiliate. He is in affiliate marketing. He want to start his own company for that, but he is not understanding how to start. Means like, what are the steps we have to take?
As far as I understand, affiliate marketing is more of a individual driven business model. People write blogs, people create videos, content, right? This is more of a individual effort that they are trying to put in. But if you really want to make it a big organization, you need many of the individuals with the same mindset, right? And who are already in that kind of a business, and probably you can build a team of affiliate marketing experts and try to expand by adding more and more people into it. And over a period of time, you will become a marketing company. You will not be an affiliate marketing agency, or you will not be an affiliate marketing individual. You will become a marketing company, and you will see many other opportunities, right? If you are an affiliate marketing company, in the beginning, you won't see huge profits, because every affiliate channel that you are going to work with, probably they'll pay you some X%, 8%, 10%, 5%, like that.
Right.
But if you really want to make it a big business, either you need that in volume, that means you should be working with hundreds of brands, and when you try to build that model, right, you should stick to a segment. You have electronic segment, you have healthy snack segment, you have ready to eat food segment. So you should have expertise and a knowledge base and a bunch of people serving to that particular customer base, right? And then put together, when you want to make it a big company, you probably want to get into digital marketing, or you probably want to get into a media agency where you create brand advertising videos, because those are related businesses. For any business, if they want to expand, there is always a stage where you think, I think I'm not able to grow from here anymore. Probably I need to expand my portfolio. Right? Probably you would want to get into multiple things. But unless you prepared for that, and if you only know affiliate marketing, probably I would say you need to team up with someone who has some understanding of digital marketing, and another person who has some other understanding of filming or media. Probably you multiple people can work together and start a marketing company.
Okay. Fine. So you must be watching on our on Facebook. I hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. So, and the most questions about like they want to know about how Bara Day started. So I guess like you already answered these questions.
Yeah, I think we covered.
Yeah, in the beginning only. Yes. So for now, like we have this much only questions, and one question from my side.
You still have questions?
The last question, I guess it will be the last question. The question from my side. Like, so what do you think about the funding? Like how we should manage our finances in our business?
We should look at funding as a tricky thing, right? Funding will come to the business which is into profits. profitable, or which can show profitability over a period of time. So there are multiple types of funding. There is a funding to grow your business. There is a funding to exponentially grow your business. And the expectations of the people who invest in your company will have different perspectives of your business. And funding is not all about building company, right? Funding is one source, and not many people really need funding. There are n number of examples where without any private funding or without any loans, they build businesses. Some of examples I could give, right? ID is one such an example. They started business. Initially, they don't want to get into debt or bank loans. So they tried sustaining themselves. And over a period of time, they could prove profitable. And then they got an investment from a third party, private equity. And there is another example that I can quote, Thyrocare. Mr. Velumani, he's a great visionary in Indian industry. He built a 1,000 crore company from nothing. There was no funding initially. He was just building a business, and then slowly people were interested in his business, so they want to invest. He said, okay, invest, go ahead. And then they want to go out. Then he said, okay, what options do I have? Okay, let's list the company on stock exchange. That's how his story. He's still building the business. And another recent example I would say is DMart. Most of you know, right? It is a very huge business model, but a very successful model in Indian market, right? I would say if anyone want to build a business, right, I would ask them to watch how DMart is sustaining every up and down in the market. You go to DMart, you won't find a day where there are less than 100 customers. Anytime, any day, if the shop is open, there are always 100 plus customers waiting, right?
Yeah.
It's very profitable business for the business owner, and it's very profitable for the customer. I mean, there are a lot of savings you could do. The business is built on a high volume product movement, and he didn't get a funding from anyone. He directly listed the company, and the share value was tripled in next 1 week.
Right.
That was the confidence, and that was the profitability index that everyone could notice from DMart. So funding is not the only thing, but probably you want to, instead of going by bus, probably you want to go by an aeroplane, you would need funding. You want to reach faster. And again, right, if sometimes you will have to run faster, otherwise you will become obsolete.
Yes.
Right? To be in the business, sometimes you need to run faster. If you have a real good business model, I wish that's how funding happens.
Okay. Thank you so much. And so
Thank you, Sukham.
Yeah, thank you so much for.
Hope it makes sense for others who are watching and who are participating in the session.
Yes. So see, from my side, I can say it was wonderful, and from other,
Thank you.
Yeah, they will be commenting on our posts. We are live on Facebook, so they will be sharing their responses on the Facebook page, as well as like we'll post this video on our YouTube link, YouTube channel also. So we'll be sharing and we'll be watching all these comments and all. I hope it was helpful for everyone. Thank you so much, and heartily thank you so much to Mr.
Thank you for the opportunity, Sukham.
Yeah, and seriously, and all the good wishes for Bara Day and Hearty Bite. And
thank you.
Yeah. So,
thank you, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye. We'll see you all on the next Wednesday at the same time with another talk. Okay, bye. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.